Martin from the Philippines. We're here in Real Talk Lifeline. So for this quick live right here, 4:14 a.m. I just got some exercise and I just did a cold shower. So let's get this live going. This live is called How Do I Find Purpose? So what is this live about? Why is purpose so important? Right? So people watching the live or the replay, if you have your own tips or best lessons on the topic, feel free to share in the comments down below so that I can learn from you and it might help others as well. So let's get to it. How do I find purpose? First, why is purpose important in the first place, right? So I'll keep it simple. Purpose, I've found, and this is just based on my life experience and the best lessons and all of the learnings from my mentors when I went through seminars, as I go through my personal development journey. Purpose is sustainable energy and fuel. So, moving on to the next point, one of the mentors I'm learning from, Tony Robbins, he calls there are two kinds of motivation. So there's push motivation and pull motivation. So his line is, and push never lasts. So in my personal experience, it leads to burnout. So push motivation is more like forcing it. And then pull motivation is more like inspiration. Like it lifts you up or it has that gravity to it. Even when you feel like you're running out of energy, suddenly you get it from a higher source. So pull is the more sustainable type of motivation that Tony Robbins teaches. So for this quick live, I'll give you three quick tips and they all start with the letter E. So it's easier to remember. So how do I find purpose? For this quick live, number one, experience. So what do you mean by experience? Then you suddenly find your purpose. So there are points in our life wherein we realize it on our own. So let's say if a person is coming from a hard background and they don't have enough money, let's say, let's keep it real basic, even just paying bills, or maybe you already could pay for basic needs like food, clothing, shelter, a place to stay. But suddenly you have to pay for your association dues, right? Or else the place you live in, a condominium, a house and lot, you're gonna end up getting penalties or even kicked out. Or maybe you're paying for your life insurance. So that's your safety net, right? Or emergency. So suddenly you find a purpose. Again, it doesn't have to be super deep all the time. It can just be for survival, basic survival or paying, right? One quick story. One time I had to get out of a parking lot, and so I was such a bad liar. I had like 19 pesos in coins here in the Philippines, and then I was lacking 1 peso, I believe. And my purpose for that night ended up becoming to look for 1 peso. I was looking in like the fountain of this is in a mall, so mall parking, and then I was looking if anyone threw coins there for good luck. Couldn't find any. Long story short, I had to walk inside the village, reach out for help to ask for 1 peso. Walked all the way out of the village to the mall, and then finally paid the parking attendant. So your purpose can come from just direct experience like that. Now, the next tip, the next E is, I would call this exposure. So sometimes, or in my personal experience, this has been the most helpful. Actually, this is my favorite. Exposure is when you end up meeting people. So, for example, in my work, when I started as a life insurance agent in 2014, November 2015, I was just doing the work. 2016, I was exposed to this group of people called the Million Dollar Roundtable. So it it gave me a vision, or it elevated my purpose because I wanted to operate on that level. These were people who were like the top 2%, top 1%. It changes. So they're like the best of the best worldwide. And the thing that gravitated me towards them was, even though they're so good, it's like they would share their secrets, their best secrets with me. I was like, why would you do that? So I met people who I didn't know existed, and I didn't know there were people who did that, and I wanted to be like that. So this is also partly why I do this in Real Talk Lifeline, where I share my best lessons because I learned from the best, like the mentors, and I'm just doing what they taught me. So exposure, 2018, I get into my personal development journey. So I it started with Gary Vaynerchuk in Manila. So he came here for the National Achievers Congress. So I get exposed. So there's this bigger world out there. And then after that, I signed up for this T. Harv Eker course, Millionaire Mind Intensive. It opened up the door for Quantum Leap, 2018 to 19. Then I get exposed to Tony Robbins. I take a seminar from him, which is also what I share in my best lessons. So exposure was a super big help for me when, if ever you feel like you're lost in life and you don't know what your purpose is. Exposure is my favorite tip out of the three. So the third tip on how do I find my purpose is, I call this end, because it starts with the letter E, end of life. So what does that mean? Usually, what I've found in my experience is you end up finding, or I would get glimpses of purpose in near death experiences, end of life. So it doesn't literally mean someone who like cuts their wrists like that, right? It can mean maybe you were like on a motorcycle ride and then you had a near miss and you really feel it. Like, I could have been dead, right? And those who ride motorcycles, hashtag relate if you ever experienced that, and if you can relate to that. Or maybe you had a really bad food poisoning experience. You were hospitalized, like on dextrose, like on an IV, intravenous, and then you felt like maybe this could be it, like you could die. So in those moments of near death, end of life, I've found from personal experience that you get a glimpse, you get hints of what your purpose could be in life. Now, I don't recommend the third tip or method because, you know, you might end up dying eventually. So, the best calculated tips I would give are, quick recap for the three tips. How do I find purpose? One is personal experience. So, just doing it the hard way and figuring it out on my own. Two is my favorite, which is exposure. So that's when I got exposed to mentors, and that's what I share over here. Three, end of life. So near death experiences. So if you want and you still feel stuck, like, hey, Martin, thanks for the tips. I got something. All right. Now, if you still feel like I want to go deeper, you share just three quick tips, right? Experience, exposure, end of life. But I want to really go through a deeper dive or discover my purpose more. So you could check out my best lessons video on Mission to Millions. That was one of my favorite Quantum Leap seminars in the whole program. It's there in the YouTube playlist, easy to find. Best lessons, Mission to Millions. So that video is about an hour or more, and I share my best lessons. I invested a lot of money into that, a lot of time and effort. So if you still feel lost in life and you want to find your purpose, check out that one. Best lessons, Mission to Millions. And then lastly, if you still feel stuck with like a really big challenge in life right now and you still need help, comment deep dive down below. So what I will do is I will reach out to you. I will just listen to you first on what your biggest challenge in life is right now. And then if you want to take it to the next level, you want to get unstuck, you want some ideas and help with it, I will help you break through with that. So I'll just check the comments of this live. Chris, that was you. So yeah, so I'm just using the new setup actually I recently got. So this is the MacBook Pro M1, and then I'm using the iPhone 13 mini camera. So thanks for the comment, Chris. Also appreciate you doing your lives with Civi, with Prime or your own enterprise over there doing the work also. Thank you, Chris. So to end this life, how do I find my purpose? Just follow those quick tips. You could do it experience the hard way, do exposure, just like how I've been exposed to mentors like D. Harvecker, Tony Robbins, other people who I learned from, or three, end of life. Usually, whatever you're going through, depression, near death experiences, sometimes we get hints as well. Number two is my favorite tip. So, again, if you want to check it out, check my best lessons, Mission to Millions. If you still feel stuck, comment deep dive down below. I will reach out to you, listen first, and help you get unstuck. Thank you. I love you. And I will see you next time.